Welcome back to another English lesson. In today's English lesson, we are going to look at President Trump's English. Of course, President Trump is a native English speaker, but that doesn't mean native English speakers don't ever make mistakes. And let's face it, President Trump talks a lot, so there are more opportunities for mistakes. In this English lesson, you will learn the word anonymous. You will learn what gutless is. You will learn the English idiom took some heat. You will learn the correct way to pronounce Nevada. We have another English idiom here, get the ball rolling. You will learn what a miscue is. We'll also talk about some good old-fashioned ribbing. If that sounds good to you, go ahead and hit that like button and let's take a look at President Trump's first mistake.
Latest act of resistance is the op-ed published in the failing New York Times by an anonymous, gutless coward.
For most of these terms and idioms, I will have a picture for you. I will have the official definition, and I will use that word in a sentence. For this first clip, it seems like President Trump got tongue-tied. Do you know that term in English? That's your tongue. And sometimes it doesn't work correctly. I would like to think President Trump knows how to pronounce anonymous. He was reading this from a teleprompter. Maybe he didn't know what the word was. But now you will know the word anonymous. It's an adjective. It means when someone's name is not known or given. The letter was sent by an anonymous person, so no one knew who wrote it. And you might hear that that person wants to remain anonymous. That is probably the verb we would use. And in the picture, you can see those people are choosing to remain anonymous. They are covering their faces. Maybe you are at work and you don't like the way something is going. You could always send your boss an anonymous email. That way, no one will know who sent it and the problem might get fixed.
An gutless coward.
President Trump also uses the word gutless. He has no problems with this, but I thought it would be a good word to know. It means lacking courage or bravery. He was too gutless to fight for his friend when he needed help. And in the picture, it looks like that person in the sweatshirt is being surrounded by people that want to hurt him. They're all very nicely dressed, which is kind of odd, but the man sitting against the wall might be gutless because he is not going to help out his friend.
I'm greatly honored to host this lunch, to be joined by the leaders of Côte d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Ghana, Guinea, Namibia, Nigeria, Senegal, Uganda, and South Africa.
In that last clip, President Trump had trouble pronouncing a country. It is quite possible he did not know that country existed, but he actually did a great job with Côte d'Ivoire. When I was a kid, this country was called the Ivory Coast, but about 10 years ago, the name changed to its French name. So English speakers have to practice a little French if they want to say this country's name. Côte d'Ivoire is a country in West Africa, also known as Ivory Coast. But the official name now, Côte d'Ivoire. Not too far from Côte d'Ivoire is another African country, Namibia. That is how that country is pronounced, Namibia.
Côte d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Ghana, Guinea, Namibia.
I have a good friend from Namibia. Shout out to Dempy.
So Belgium is a beautiful city.
Okay, another mistake by Trump. Of course, Belgium is a country. He said it was a city. I'm not sure if he meant to say Belgium is the country and Brussels is the city. Either way, he made another mistake in English. If you look down there in big letters is the word misspoke. That's a word you can use when you accidentally say something wrong.
So Belgium is a beautiful city.
Trump took some heat earlier this evening during a rally in Reno for mispronouncing Nevada. But in fairness, Trump isn't the only high-profile figure who's had the same problem. In fact, it didn't take long for us to find a few other examples, but we'll just begin with the one that got that ball rolling.
Nevada.
Donald Trump's Nevada miscue was greeted with some good-natured ribbing from supporters who want to make sure he knows how to say Nevada if he finds himself in the Oval Office.
Meth overdoses in Nevada. Nevada. And you know what I said? You know what I said? I said when I came out here, I said, nobody says it the other way. It has to be Nevada.
I really like the reporter introducing the mistake by Trump because he uses a lot of interesting idioms. Let's talk about one. Took some heat. Because it's an idiom, it doesn't translate well. It has nothing to do with something being hot. It means received strong criticism or blame, like people are saying a lot of bad things about something they did. The coach took some heat for making a bad decision during the game. And this picture isn't perfect. I wanted AI to have the crowd pointing at the coach. You can tell they're mad, but I wanted you to see they were mad at the coach a little more. AI still isn't perfect, but it's getting better every day. Ooh. Take a look at that sentence below. I took some heat for the last video I made about Zelensky's English. That video was called Zelensky's English Isn't Good Enough. All I meant by that was I thought he was in over his head trying to battle Trump and Vance at the same time. A lot of people didn't like what I said in that video. It's okay. I can take it. You might hear something like this, but it's okay. I can take the heat. In other words, it doesn't bother me when people say mean things about me. I have been a teacher in an American high school or middle school for the last 20 years. Trust me, I've heard it all. Nevada. Nevada. We have a couple places in the US where we pronounce things differently depending on where we live. For instance, the city of New Orleans, it's in Louisiana, but you might hear it called New Orleans sometimes. Well, I guess the people of Nevada say Nevada, not Nevada.
Nevada. Nevada.
If you've never heard of that state, maybe you heard about the most famous city in that state, Las Vegas.
Trump took some heat earlier this evening during a rally in Reno for mispronouncing Nevada. But in fairness, Trump isn't the only high-profile figure who's had the same problem. In fact, it didn't take long for us to find a few other examples, but we'll just begin with the one that got that ball rolling.
Nevada.
Donald Trump's Nevada miscue was greeted with some good-natured ribbing from supporters who want to make sure he knows how to say Nevada if he finds himself in the Oval Office.
Meth overdoses in Nevada. Nevada. And you know what I said? You know what I said? I said when I came out here, I said, nobody says it the other way. It has to be Nevada.
They also mention the word miscue, so I want to make sure you know what it means. It's a mistake or an error, especially in speaking or sports. It's not a big mistake. I'm going to give you two words for big mistakes in just a second. His speech had a miscue when he accidentally said the wrong name. If you are looking for a way to describe a big mistake, another way to say a big mistake would be a disaster or a catastrophe. Catastrophe. If you know French, you might already know that word. Oh man, I had a picture for miscue and I forgot to show you, but that doctor could have said something wrong. Now they feel really bad. It was simply a miscue. You also heard ribbing. Let's talk about what that means. It's a little bit of slang. It's just friendly teasing or joking. Take a look at that picture. It looks like that person just spilled their drink and his friends are having a little fun. Let's look at that sentence. His friends gave him some ribbing after he spilled his drink at lunch. There is so much bad news in the world. I thought we could have a little fun with this English lesson. If you haven't seen that English lesson about Zelensky's English, I'll leave it right there for you. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.